Since 1961, Quartz Plumbing has offered friendly, reliable service to residences all over Bergen County, New Jersey. We are a fourth-generation family-owned business, unmatched in customer satisfaction and professionalism while working in your home. We are the hydronic heating and water filtration specialists, with a workmanship guarantee to put you at ease so you can rest comfortably. We offer financing for those big projects that catch you off guard, and we have a network of excellent contractors in all fields for any project you wish to tackle. Call our responsive office team, and we'll dispatch a handsome and educated technician to lay the smackdown on all your plumbing issues. You can also find us at quartzplumbing.com, search us on Google, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Like, subscribe, and share, please.
Yes, folks, that's right. Welcome to Plum Bums Podcast, your favorite YouTube show, as we can tell by all the viewer. Plum Bums Podcast, the blue-collar tradesman show where we talk about entrepreneurship and... Nope. Ready?
Are you ready?
Yes. Yes, that's right, folks. Welcome to Plum Bums Podcast, the blue-collar tradesman show where we talk about small business and entrepreneurship. Screwed it up again. This is like the fourth take by the time. I'm moving forward. We're moving forward.
Good practice.
Oh my god, dude.
Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for watching. We have a pretty... I'm doing some editing. Welcome to the show, folks. Thanks for watching, as always. Today we actually have a longtime contractor who picked us up years ago through a mutual contractor, Kevin Murrell from River Edge, New Jersey, Mountain Scapes, Inc., landscaping, landscaper to the stars, landscaper to the elite.
That's it.
But we've been working with you 7 years.
It's at least 7 years, I would think. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Yep.
Listen, I'm telling you, every year goes faster. Every rotation around the sun goes faster and faster as you get older, and one day you'll know.
Why are you looking at me?
What do you? I don't
You're
know.
a youngster.
You want me?
I see you giggling out of the side of the corner of my eye.
Because we already had this conversation, but now we have to redo it.
Listen, you came out of the womb a 40-year-old man. Let's be honest.
I can't mimic.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm an old fart. Everybody tells me I'm an old fart.
At 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every single year, faster and faster. 2024, guys. Almost a quarter of a century through the new millennium. And who knows what that will bring. I mean, have you guys been just watching the wonderment going on around you? Jeez.
It's true.
Every day is a new book from Revelation, new chapter from Revelation. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about small business and entrepreneurship and encourage the younger guys who are coming out of high school and thinking about going to college. You don't understand how desperate the trades are for good, hardworking guys. There's a lot of money to make here. You can build a good business for yourself. So screw college. College is done. It's not for you. You're going to be a plumber. You're going to be a landscaper. So
That's it.
I don't know, Ken. What do you have to say to the guys coming up?
It's good for a lot of people. I think college has gotten to be a thing where, it's sometimes more of a burden on people, especially if they're coming out with all these loans and debt and not, getting great jobs or taking 10 years to get a decent job.
And tuition still is just going up, up, up.
Yeah. And the other thing is, to me, being self-employed was a big deal.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just being in a trade or whatever, just having that freedom and being self-employed. That was what you can do with a trade. It's probably easier than some other things.
How'd you get into it, though?
Mostly because I couldn't stand what I was doing. When I got out of college, I did go to college.
You did go to college?
Yeah.
Did you graduate?
Yeah. I went mostly for sports, but I did graduate.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What were you playing?
Can't
I was
tell.
playing football. But
really? Did you?
Yeah,
what position?
running back.
You're so tiny.
Yeah.
Just zipping through.
Yeah. I mean, I weigh more than I look, but still. But yes, I didn't go because I loved school.
Uh-huh.
Let's put it that way. But
does?
I did graduate, and I graduated in. I didn't like it so much. I was motivated to get out in 4 years. You know what I mean? A lot of people take a little more.
Yeah.
So I was motivated that way, and I worked in the corporate world for 2 years, and I was commuting to the city. I was doing all the kind. I had two different jobs.
That'll drive anyone to landscaping. It's like
You'd be surprised though. Some people handle it a little better than probably I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
So, and I always liked the outdoors, and I did kind of like plants, and I did some of it in the summers when I was in school and college for like work for guys. And
like odd jobs trying to pay the tuition when tuition
I
was
didn't
affordable.
Pay tuition. My parents did pay it,
Oh,
and I
okay.
got some money for football too. But I just didn't want to do that.
No suit tie, no train, no bus.
I did do that for a while.
I know.
I did not like that.
Before I got into the trades or anything, I was trying to figure out some kind of office job. Like that's what I was applying to. I was waiting
That's what
tables
everyone
at
thinks.
night.
They get out of school and
You get out of school, and I didn't go. I didn't graduate from college,
right.
but I was waiting tables at night, and then figuring out maybe I'll get in real estate. I had no idea.
Yeah, most kids don't.
Yeah,
I think college is good for actually some of the people we work for, where they go into the top schools in the country. They have a direct. They want to be. They know they want to be a doctor. They know they want to be a lawyer. That's when school is good.
that's when school is important
You're right.
to me.
But the average kid who's just going to college because they don't know what else to do,
Ridiculous.
it's can be a problem. And then they come out with all this debt on top of it.
Yeah.
And that is what there's probably more kids in college doing that than there are kids who know what they want.
Yeah.
You come up with a
I think.
degree. Most of the people don't even use their degree half the time.
I certainly didn't.
Listen, if you say it too, if you're going to be a lawyer, doctor, or an engineer, you need college. But communications,
Yeah.
Liberal arts.
But you know what the problem is today? Even some of these jobs where to do the job you don't need the education, but just to get the interview.
well, that's what's BS about
I
the
know.
whole system.
Yeah, I know.
It's garbage. The whole system is.
But that's what we're talking about here, is that there's so many available jobs out there that, like, in these types of businesses, smaller businesses that need employees. Everywhere I go, I see help wanted signs.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Everywhere I go, I see
Yeah.
help wanted signs.
Yeah.
And it might not be the best job in the world, but I always said, like for the kids who don't know what they want to do, work. Even if you
work.
don't like what you do, you find out what you don't like to do.
Yeah.
And then you just switch fields. And everything that you do, make it positive, because you're going to take experience.
Yeah, the experience,
Like
yeah.
people who work, I notice people who work in the restaurant industry, waiters, waitresses, they always, any field that they go to afterwards, they do very well in. And I think it's because they have good rapport with people.
My one son did that.
Yeah.
You learn people.
He went to college, but he was doing that for a while because
Yeah.
he knew he wanted to travel. He graduated during COVID. He was trying to travel, and he kept getting shut down. So in the meantime, he waited and he bartended.
Yeah.
That's
And, he
that'll
made good
te-
money actually too.
Yeah.
That'll
'Cause
teach
he
you
was in a
people
hopping
skills.
place.
Was he?
Yeah.
Local?
No, down the shore.
Okay.
So things were really hopping always.
Yeah.
So he made the money, and you're right. It's it was good and bad about it. He also
You learn a lot from working.
good and bad about working with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listen, 7 years we've been working with you.
Yeah.
Kevin does great work. You
Thank
do
you.
phenomenal work.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, who's designing this? Is the customer saying this is what I want, or do you go in there and you literally?
No, I do most. I do a lot of designing regardless. I try to get a concept or likes or dislikes from the customer.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, because I've been around a while and people know me, especially in the neighborhood where we work and
Yeah.
where you were working with me. Some of it, they just kind of let me do my thing, which I really
They trust you.
respect that. And you can do a better job that way because you can get more creative and you're not,
Right.
You don't have all these
Nothing's
guidelines and
Nothing's worse than a
restrictions.
customer that's hanging over, breathing down your neck behind you.
Well, that, and especially since what I do is kind of creative. It's the worst thing is if they're going to stifle you.
Do you only
Yeah.
do bigger budget landscaping?
No,
or
not at all.
You do smaller, like
I do a lot of small ones too,
Yeah.
and a lot of my old customers or customers I've known for years. They might just do a $3,000 project that year. Maybe the next year they did 15 or 20, or I've had people do hundreds.
Yeah.
You've seen some of those jobs, but it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm not going to do a tiny job that's 2 hours away.
yeah.
Right.
But
right.
at this point, but if it's in the neighborhood and all,
Same thing with us. I'll travel to do a boiler because it's
Yeah,
worth it, you
right,
know?
right.
But I'll tell you one thing: there better not be any callbacks on that boiler because that's like the worst
Well,
thing. in
yeah,
the
the
world.
longer you're around, you realize travel time.
Travel
being
time's
close
huge.
for so many things. Sometimes people just call me like, "You got a minute?" And Sunday morning or something.
Yeah.
To run over just to review something. If I was an hour away, that's no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I'm 10 minutes away or 15 minutes away, but I didn't have that luxury when I first started.
Right.
I was jumping all over the place.
How did you? So you were in the corporate world, trying out the corporate world. What? And then you go to landscaping.
Well, first
How'd
off,
that
I
happen?
wasn't going to be very good in the corporate world either. But I also had the bug to travel and do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of a thing. I actually was in the corporate world for 2 years, and then I traveled for a year and a half or something.
Wow.
And then I started. And I had some experience from the summers, like I said, working for other companies and all. But I always gravitated towards the plants and the design thing. Not just the
Outdoors too.
and that was the big thing.
And it keeps you in
outdoors.
shape.
Yeah.
Landscaping keeps you in
Yeah,
shape.
it does. It does. If you're doing, especially now, back then I did do a lot of physical work, but the outdoors was a big thing.
Yeah.
It's still, I really like going out, when the sun's out in the summer and all,
Yeah.
in shorts,
Right.
as opposed to, getting in a car driving to an office in a suit and tie.
So you're lucky to wear shorts. We never wear shorts.
Yeah, you can.
It's
Well,
frowned
you
upon
can,
for
can't
plumbers
you?
to wear. We can, but it's like frowned upon.
You guys
I
wear
think
those pants that fall down your crack.
Me and
always happen.
we've
Is that frowned
No,
upon?
we make sure that doesn't happen.
we've established a rule. There's a uniform, and the first thing we said to each other in the first rule was no shorts. I don't care how hot it is.
if it's
No shorts.
if it's over 98 degrees,
He'll wear shorts.
oh,
but
I
won't.
may wear
Yeah.
shorts.
Well,
But I may I can count on one hand. One.
you're probably used to it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, plus we're not outside.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
know.
under the sun.
Well, I know a lot of guys who work outside and they wear it just for protection. I was, I could wear shorts.
Yeah, that is true.
But
But
I'm a short guy.
I mean,
in a lot of ways.
I didn't want. I
standing.
didn't want to
I'm
say it
standing
because
there.
I'm sure. I didn't
I'm
want
not
to say it
sitting,
because
I'm
I'm short too.
Phil's the only big guy here today.
Yeah.
oh, you should see my brother.
I did. He was on that job.
Oh,
for a
that's
while.
right.
Yeah. I have a
Yeah.
picture.
He's huge.
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
picture
Where
of
did he
him.
live
He's
again?
huge.
What state was he in?
He's in Ohio now.
That's where he was. That's right. He was.
My
from
family's
Ohio.
big, and
Yeah.
my dad has 5 brothers. He's the shortest brother,
Oh, really?
but my brother is the tallest grandson. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, he's taller than you, right?
Oh
Your
yeah,
brother? Yeah. I know he's big.
He's
in
4
general.
years
He's big
younger, 4 inches taller, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, he was
120 pounds
I
heavier.
do remember him. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you, when you made that switch? What do you need to become a landscaper?
Well, a lot of landscapers start out cutting lawns. I was the opposite. I started right from the start doing projects. I never did any maintenance or anything.
What was your first job? How'd you get a first job? Not to interrupt, we'll get back to the story.
First I had a partner for a while because I knew a guy who was into that whole thing, and he dropped out of high school, and that's all he did. So I partnered up with him for 1 year, and then we split, and I went on my own. So I had a lot of contacts from that year, and he had some contacts, so we just kind of split it.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. But I never did maintenance till only like 15, 20 years ago because the bigger jobs I was doing sometimes require. I actually lost jobs because I didn't maintain. So some of these projects people wanted, as part of the deal,
see.
wanted you to maintain it. And, I also saw the writing on the wall. I couldn't be too specialized. Now we do a lot of masonry work, drainage work, everything. Back then I was strictly doing plantings mostly, and I could do that then. Plus, I was young. I didn't have
Trying
much
everything,
responsibility and things like that.
How long have you been married for?
Not that long, considering my age, only 26 years.
What
We
are
had kids
you,
later and
100?
everything. I'm 103 now.
103?
Yeah.
I'm going to be a landscaper,
That's why I'm
man.
short. I was 6 foot.
Looks better than us.
I'm about to quit plumbing and become a landscaper for the longevity.
Just so you can live to be 100.
Let me ask you, how are your knees, though?
I'm fine.
Are you?
Yeah, I only have bad shoulders, and that's from well, it could be from the work too, but it was just wear and tear. But my knees are, for all the things I did, my knees are pretty good.
Plumbers' knees they go.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I heard that the plumber's life, the knee life on a plumber is like 16 years.
So you guys,
If you don't
do you
take
wear
care
knee
of 'em.
pads too? Do you wear the pads when you?
For
Are
a
you
long-
squatting or actually on your knees?
I'm on my knees.
So you should wear the pads.
I mean, I don't wear I have a pad that I kneel on,
Yeah.
but I bring it in the house like 30% of the time.
Yeah.
So you're on the hard
So
floors?
I'm just like,
oh, no wonder
the
why.
pad's outside. Screw it, and I'll just do the job.
Yeah.
No wonder.
And then I'll get up like,
Yeah. No,
Like,
that
you
would
know-
be a problem. To be honest with you, I stopped doing the physical work a while ago.
yeah,
And it wasn't just because I was getting beat up. To just keep the business going, all the meetings, buying the materials,
Right.
running,
it's exhausting.
I couldn't. It was counterproductive to stay there in labor, and
Yeah.
all. And so I haven't done physical work in a long time.
How many guys you got working for you?
6.
Have they been with you a long time?
Yeah, most of them.
Do you trust them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never had a problem.
Even that
Oh, I
shice-
shouldn't say that. One or two guys over the years I had a fire,
Well,
but nothing major.
That's bound to happen.
But for the most part, I never had it. Well, some guys, have it. They never know who's coming in the next day to work.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I know landscapers who have that issue.
Yeah.
Well, pool guys too. I mean,
Yeah.
you get a lot of screwed up guys who become
Yeah.
pool guys.
Yeah. No, well, it's not so much screwed up. Some of the guys, in my business, it is mostly Spanish labor, and 95% of them are good guys. But some of the owners of these companies drive them too hard or don't treat them right. So it's
Yeah.
a combination of things too.
I mean, I was building swimming pools for a long time, and they don't work all year. Landscapers don't work all year usually.
Yeah, I know you're seeing a little more of it, but you're right. Usually they don't.
Pool guys don't work all year, and that attracts a lot of.
But
a lot of
seasons are getting
blockheads.
longer even in pools. Like my pool guy who I
Yeah.
work with, he's dug pools this winter.
We would dig as well. I mean, I think maybe January we stopped digging, but then started up mid-February
Yeah.
and just kept going.
But that was a few years back.
That was 8 years ago.
Yeah,
9
I'm
years
telling you,
ago.
these pool guys are doing stuff in February, January.
That
if
keeps
they-
you in shape. Building swimming pools.
Does it?
Well, it was this high end swimming pools.
No, I
like,
know,
like
that's what-
big natural. And then I was the plumber.
Right.
So, but here's the thing: he built his swimming pools with in-floor cleaning systems. So in each pool there were 5 different zones. In each zone,
So it's really complicated, right? The whole zoning. And
not
everything.
really. Like once you figure it out, it makes sense. There were 5. There were 5 different zones in the pool, and each zone had 4 or 5 heads that would pop up like a quarter of an inch
Yeah.
and blow water down the floor to move all the debris to the main drain. It's a self-cleaning pool.
Do a lot of pools have that now? No.
No, because it's like $40,000
Okay.
extra to
Yeah,
put that thing in.
Yeah.
His profit margins are ridiculous with that.
Oh, you got to see what's going on with pools.
Yeah?
With especially with COVID, during COVID. My pool guy
Yeah.
was averaging 25 pools a year. He was doing 65 during COVID.
Wow.
And you know what pools cost now? But
Yeah.
it was a big, so you can imagine.
He put in 65 pools one year?
No,
Well,
like 3 years.
3 years?
That's because everybody from New York with all this money.
It was a
is moving over
combination
here.
of that. It was a combination of people being home all the time.
Yeah.
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
So they figured I might as well put a pool in. Now, in the neighborhoods that, like, where we work, where you guys worked, it's almost standard to have a pool, too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like central. Like
Yeah,
Summers,
almost everybody.
summers
just
are
like
longer.
generators and all
Yeah.
that. So you're probably hooking up generators, right? Don't you?
Yeah, we
get
do
involved?
generators. I don't know.
Everyone has generators, pools now. A lot of, it's kind of.
I might just join the town pool. I hear they're hurting for members anyway.
They make good deals. I heard
Yeah.
that, too.
They just put up the new fencing down there.
Yeah.
Making it look nice.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than your own
That's a
pool.
nice pool. I had a guest pass to there a couple times. It's a
Did you?
nice pool.
I have never been down there in the summer.
I'll tell you that pool guys don't have pools themselves.
I mean, owners.
The
Prob-
workers, owners,
Oh, the worker, yeah,
workers,
yeah.
they just don't have pools because when you actually have to maintain it, do you maintain your own pool?
I throw the vacuum. I have an old pool. Right? It came with the house.
All right.
So it's like 50 years old. The pool.
Yeah.
So I don't have those new vacuums that you hook up to the filter system. But
Fair
I do
enough.
have a separate vacuum system that I plug in.
All right, so you're
I just throw
maintaining-
it in and I
Yeah.
put the chemicals in.
You do your thing.
So I do, but it's not a lot of work.
No, but when you have like
Oh, it's a lot of work. I know.
It is-
I don't open and close either. I am,
Yeah.
the guy I work with. So
so pool guys don't have pools, so
I don't blame him. It is a lot of work.
Didn't you
and it's
say
expensive.
it costs like $100 an hour to heat a pool?
it depends on how
I don't
big
heat
your
I don't have a heater either.
You don't have a heater?
No.
These heaters that they're going in, they're like 400,000 BTUs to heat a pool.
I can imagine.
It,
And they
depending
keep
on
it
how
open
high.
to like November
Oh,
or something. Yeah.
the one on Booth had
Yeah.
it open all winter.
Yep.
Well, not that this
Yeah, I
winter
know.
was
good part.
horrible,
Yeah.
but you have a 500,000 BTU heater. It costs like, and this was 10 years ago, like $80 an hour to run that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's moving up only 1 degree per hour. That's your average. How much your pool will heat with a heater?
That's why I don't have a heater.
Yeah.
And the summers are 90 degrees. It doesn't bother me. The thing with a heater is you can start a little early and end a little later.
Takes the
That's
chill
the
off in the spring.
Yeah. But the summer, to me, I don't think you need it.
I mean, that's a good business to get into. We still have not so much pools, but pools just need there's job listings for just plumbers for pools just to do PVC.
We've done a couple.
Yeah.
Everyone's jumped on the Bergen. There's landscapers doing pools now because a good part of it is subbed out.
Well,
So
that and the licensing isn't crazy.
No?
I think it's just a certification on a lot of things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I know a lot of guys figure, hey, I'm GC, and all I got to do is make some phone calls and keep an eye on things and
Yeah.
get it done.
What kind of licensing do you need
For what?
for landscaping?
Just a home improvement thing.
Just a home improvement license?
That's it, yeah.
And what do you have to do to get that?
I have to do that, actually. It's due the end. I register. Every year I have to register online, pay like a $95 fee.
You don't have to take classes or business
because
classes?
I'm corporated. No. I mean, I'm corporated, so I had to register with the state back when I first started. But now the only thing I have to do is just keep that home improvement license going.
So how did it build from what you started? You said you were with a partner, and obviously you guys broke up.
Yeah.
Did you have some good contacts through him?
No, not really. He stayed in kind of his neighborhood that he knew from this. It kind of worked out just right, and I was always more interested in the whole design thing too, and I always had an interest in plants and nature in general, actually animals too.
Yeah.
So I just kind of.
So you're a tree hugger.
Yeah.
You're a tree hugging hippie.
No, not that, but I do. I always like, anything in nature. Like I know a fair amount about animals.
I mean, I'm actually impressed that with landscaping you don't even have to take like a horticulture something.
Well, a lot of guys do.
Well, but it's not required. The fact that it's not required is.
I'm not an expert on too many things or the sharpest person on a lot of things, but certain things I could pick up. And plants and design. It was never an issue with me. And
I'll tell you, I do not have a green thumb. I don't know how to grow plants. It's almost like a skill.
Some people don't. Like I said, that was one of the things that just came fairly easy to me. Not many things do, but that.
So what grows well around here?
Pine.
Well, there's many things now. Again, because of the
pine, like those pine trees. I see
no,
those
not pine trees.
They're not pine.
There's those are conifers. Our zone has actually changed around. There's zones, climate zones. It
has evolved over the years.
It's getting warmer. So we can do more and more things than we used to do, but then the deer came along. So that's a restriction. But as far as the environment goes, there are things that used to be more South Jersey, South Virginia, Carolinas, certain things like crepe myrtle and all that are doing fine up here now. So when you ask what plants do well here, many things do well if you know
what you're doing.
Yeah, as far as the soil exposure, sun, shade. But the big challenge now is deer.
Well, because nobody hunts anymore.
Well, especially you can't hunt in the neighborhoods. I know hunters who drool when you can walk down the street in River Edge in the morning. I had last year,
there's
or was it this fall?
Out there.
Yeah, 8-pointer walking down my sidewalk.
They destroy everything.
Deer
are pests.
Yeah, I know.
I planted a couple trees at my parents' house, and two of them first year both got eaten by deers.
Yep.
And my parents said I got angry at the deer. My parents were like,
"Yeah, what do you want?
It's doing what it's.
What do you want from him? He was hungry." I'm like, he just destroyed this tree that I.
He's not hungry. He's like 40 pounds overweight.
They are. You see how they look so healthy over the winter. Everything. They have. The only thing that will put them down is if they happen to get run over.
Yeah.
They have no. Occasionally, a coyote might take a young one down around here.
Yeah, they have no natural predators.
But there's no predators around here.
Yeah.
I know guys who hunt they go in the woods. You know how hard it is to find an 8-pointer?
Because they're smart too out there.
And you're talking about acres and a radius of 50 miles or something.
Well, because the hunting season also, like if you go upstate New York, the hunting season is ridiculously cold.
Yeah.
Ridiculously cold. It's miserable.
But now there's nothing to stop them.
No.
Yeah.
Except fence. So luckily, a lot of the people going forward now, especially the younger people building homes or putting pools in or putting 6-foot fences in.
Does that even stop them, though?
6 foot usually will. If they really want to, they could clear it. But 6 foot will usually stop them. But if they really wanted to, they could clear it. but usually they're not.
So with the business, did you say how many years you've been in business on
I
your
didn't.
own? How many? How long?
Somewhere between 38 and 40. I think it's about 40.
On your
Wow.
own?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
It
smokes!
was like somewhere around 83 or 4. I don't even remember exactly.
Those were good years.
What's that?
Those were good years. So you've been through the whole advertising game and marketing and
No,
branding,
I
or
actually didn't do too much of that.
did you? Not
You're
even
looking
not
for
even a
stuff
Yellow
on that.
Pages ad.
You know, I did not Yellow Pages. I did something. I can't remember what it was. And
TV commercials.
no, yeah, that's it. And I didn't get anything from it. And then there was some. To be honest with you, you got to watch how you advertise. In my opinion, starting out, you probably have to. And I'm also talking like a dinosaur. Now you have the whole Google thing. You have everything online.
You have to. It's like it's like a necessity.
And because
now.
I'm at the stage I'm at, I'm not going to bother with it. If I was younger, I would have. So it would have been different. But I remember advertising once in something, and all I did was get like a lot of tire kickers, people calling me up, and it wasn't really worth it. I think today is totally different. And if I was younger, I'd probably take advantage of that.
Post videos, all that kind
the
of
whole.
stuff. I see guys on YouTube now. I got recommended
Yeah.
videos
Yeah.
of guys going up, landscapers going up to like the ugliest house in the neighborhood, telling them they'll do their lawn for free.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and it just changes the whole thing.
Gu-
You know?
guys-
It generates business for them.
It
Yeah.
does, and but some of the stuff is absurd. I remember there's a neighborhood in Tenafly I do some work too, and one winter, one of my customers showed me what they got. They dropped it in the mailbox. They gave a pricing for the whole year for the maintenance. This was the maintenance, and it was like the most absurd thing. I don't know if they got it from like Google Maps and they just got the size of the property or something. But how they could possibly base their prices, but they were way off. They might have seen the size of the property, but they didn't know like that there might be 50 trees on that property.
Well, maybe they just
which you got
have
to
like,
take into consideration for cleanups and things like that. It was absurd. So they had like a $400 cleanup when it should have been like $4,000 on the cleanup, and they knew it was a joke. But I'm just saying they probably did get work from it. Whether they lost their shirt or not, I don't know. So there's a lot of crazy things out there to advertise. You know how they advertise.
It's endless
This
now.
was years
so
ago.
you're not online. You're not advertised.
No,
I mean,
so
I know
if
you
you're
have.
looking for an example for that, I'm not too good with that. And I think a lot of it is because of I've been around a while.
You have your
Yeah.
established
And
customers.
Yeah, and I I don't want to get so crazy where I'm working 24/7.
Yeah.
And also, I never wanted to. When you get big, and even your business, any business, like the pressure to come
I
up with
know.
payroll for 25 guys,
Yeah.
and you have 15 trucks,
Yeah.
and I never wanted to do that. I wanted to do some large work, but I don't have to do 25 jobs that large.
I think
for the
I would
year.
want to cap out at 4 or 5 trucks. That's it.
Yeah, it
That's
gets out
it.
of control. But I know some guys love that. The whole thing is about getting bigger. I was more concerned about doing better jobs, and I didn't mind doing big jobs, but not 5 at once or something.
Yeah.
That's how I always look.
Plus, when you have all that money out, you're bringing a lot of money in, but a lot of money's going out.
Well, then you got to start hiring all kinds of people to collect money for you,
Yeah.
bookkeepers,
Yeah.
the whole thing, and it gets, and then you lose track. See, I can design all my jobs. I know a lot of those big companies. They're more businessmen, which is fine because they're making probably tons of money, but they're more businessmen than they are
Right.
designers or anything else, and they'll hire landscape architects out of college or something to
Right.
design it.
Oh, so
I
there-
always wanted
there-
to do that myself.
There are landscape architects. So you
There's plenty of landscape.
There's like, so there's a course, right?
Oh yeah.
take
There's
that
a lot
to
of
college?
that's to be a landscape architect. Most landscape architects are not landscape contractors.
Okay, yeah.
I
They're
was
just
a
they're
business
just the
major.
designers.
What's it?
They're just designing and doing pitches and making sure that the basement doesn't get flooded from new
Are you talking about the
landscaping.
architects?
The architect, right?
Yeah, they can put their stamp on it because they took the course. They can do some
Gotcha.
engineering. They can do all that stuff, but and they learn how to say plants in Latin. That's
Yeah.
kind of.
Fair enough.
Don't get me started on landscape architects.
That's the name of our show where it comes from.
What's that?
Plum bum. Plume
That's
boom?
Latin.
Original Latin
Is
for
it
plumbing.
really?
Yeah. He
So his Latin names
figured it out. We're driving in the truck and we were trying to let's do a podcast. Let's think of a name. So we were thinking of a name and he was just scrolling through his phone. He's like, "How about plume boom, plum bum, plum bums?"
Well, that's
And it came from the original word for plumbing,
which was
for
Latin.
lead.
Yeah.
And that's what they said plumbing back
Yeah,
in
yeah,
back
yeah.
in Roman times.
I never really understood the whole
We're geniuses.
concept. I could see that. I never got that into the Latin names. I never really understood why. That was one of the big things when you went to college for landscape architects. You had to learn all the Latin names. I never really.
What Latin names for the plants?
For the
Yeah.
plants. The scientific names
that's
for them.
that's a bit of a project to
Pretty
learn
pompous.
all the Latin names for.
Pretty
There's a lot of
pompous.
plants out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the genuses and stuff.
Yeah.
God's creation is
I
fascinating, man.
think the problem is, you can learn that, but you still don't know if the plant takes sun or shade.
Right, right.
I would think that's more.
Listen, we run into the same problem with architects.
Yeah.
Same thing. A ton of book knowledge, but
Yeah.
the real world application is missing a lot of
They're
times.
not even in the nurseries. They don't even know what's out there.
Engineers, architects, it's all the same because they're
Yeah.
always in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
Everything works out on paper, but like what you said, you don't account for the 4 trees that are sitting over
but
there. That
they know the
Right.
Latin name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's and not only that, and this is for interior decorators or anyone if you're trying to be creative. Just because you get a degree in that particular thing, that doesn't mean you
Yeah.
are creative.
Right.
Yeah.
So you may know how to draw well.
Yeah.
And that's why I try to stay clear of plans unless a customer really needs one.
It's fair enough.
Most of my jobs, like almost 100%, we don't do it with a plan. Believe me, it's planned out. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a drawing involved with.
That's a lot of old school guys too. I think old school, like my uncle, I always say he's a contractor, and when I was helping him build the cabin, I was like, "You got something for me to look at, like a design?" He goes,
He's like-
"Just follow me."
It's a big rectangle.
And I'm, and he puts it together, and everything is
it
nice.
still
Everything
works.
is square.
Yeah.
Oh,
Certain
yeah.
things you
It's
get.
perfect.
I understand certain things like the engineering on a house and all.
Right.
There's got to be some drawings, but when you're talking about more aesthetics than anything,
Yeah.
which a lot of landscape is a lot of it. I don't
Doesn't
see
help
the
them at
need.
all.
It's all
It
in your-
doesn't. I don't. Some people, and then some of the customers who want drawings, they said I need something to look at, and that will show you where a tree or a plant is going, or a patio and all.
Yeah.
Doesn't
not
mean
gonna show
you
you
know
what
what
it
it's going to
looks
look like. It's a circle or an X on a.
Yeah.
See, but do you at least take pictures of your work? And,
I used to do a lot of that, or I used to, but now with Google and everything, you just Google a plant. So that's how people. I said, you want to know what this is going to look like? You have to Google these plants. You have to see pictures of them because otherwise, and read about it. You could see. Like I said, you could have drawings. I've come across many plans that the people think are a nice plan until they start identifying what the plants are, and they don't like the plants. So
yeah.
That's fair.
yeah.
I think it's interesting. You started in the 80s. My grandfather was in the 60s. I took this business over when from my uncle it was like 8-9 years ago. Okay, but he took it over in '96, and all that was for advertising was the yellow pages
Yeah.
or your local church.
Right.
And the guys who have been in business since then, there's no need for them to jump on social media because
But are they still even advertising? Do you still have to advertise? Do you?
Oh my gosh, we're all over social media. I got videos of the dogs. I got videos of us
I
on
know,
jobs.
but are you getting quality work from the
We've
advertising?
actually,
yeah.
we've
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
gotten.
Okay, yeah.
we've actually
Plumbing is a
gotten
little
jobs
different.
from
Plumbing's the kind of
podcast.
thing like in the middle of the night, if something breaks, they got to know who to call.
well,
you know
I
what mean?
run Facebook ads.
Yeah.
I push for Google reviews because that drives you up.
Right.
When you search for plumbers and you see someone like us who has a 5-star rating,
Right.
5 stars all across the board.
That's where it helps.
That's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
But the social media thing, just people scrolling. Like if you make funny content, it's not that you're trying to get jobs from that, but you put your logo in the corner of every
I get it,
video.
I get
And
it.
landscaping would be beautiful. Like that
No,
would be
people.
really.
The young guys are doing it
Yeah.
all.
Well, yeah, you have like your whole business is content generated.
Yeah, but right. But think about landscape. It is a little different than plumbing. If you're in these, nice, beautiful homes, and you want to make your place beautiful, and you're willing to spend a fair amount of money on it, are you really going to get it from the yellow pages,
Yeah, well, not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
or even just going online? You know what I mean? Like most likely, you're going to get it from someone you know.
Yeah, a referral,
A lot
100%.
of referral, whether it's
Yeah.
the builder or a neighbor or your brother who lives down the street or something. That's what I find, at least in landscaping.
Yeah,
Very rarely are they going to spend money on a big job because they got it from.
they saw a nice video on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
usually,
Yeah.
usually they're not. If someone told them about this guy
Right.
and they want, that's a different story.
Well, you know what's huge now is the Facebook moms groups for every town.
Yeah.
Yes,
Huge.
yes. You see that I get because then your name is there, and they get it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Also, you said about like maintaining. You're
Yeah.
talking about maintaining because we're talking about the aesthetics of all this stuff. I had a guy who did my my parents' house, and he said he'll give him a discounted price if he gets to bring people. Like he wants to
really?
use it as a.
Yeah.
To this day, he did it 15, 20 years ago almost. To this day, we have like random
So
people coming to my
that's
parents'
interesting.
backyard.
You brought that up.
Really?
Yeah. He'll bring them over. He said, "This is what I did."
I have a few jobs where I wasn't. I just knew I had to do something like that because I have a few customers who do recommend me a lot, and I do get work from them, and I do take care of them. And it's not like they pressured me. Some people have kind of given me a hint that I should do that, but I knew I had to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So I do. It's a give and take thing.
Yeah.
And that's my form of advertising. But I'm looking at things from a guy who's been around a while and 67 years
That's
old.
the thing. That's the thing. I mean,
So I'm looking at things
you're
a little different.
established. You know.
Yeah, I'm not looking for new customers. I mean, I'm not looking to grow tremendously. I still want to get nice jobs and do nice jobs and be profitable. But I'm not looking to get spread out and be running around like a.
So one of the boys isn't going to come up and take over Mountainscapes?
No, people ask
No?
that all the time. It was one of those things. If they showed an interest, I would have cultivated it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to cultivate it first and push.
Yeah.
You didn't force your kids to do the. You didn't force
To
your
work.
kids into work when they were.
They did
growing
work in
up.
the summers with me.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah, till just recently.
It's a great summer job for
good.
a kid.
Yeah.
It should.
It's like the
Yeah.
perfect summer job for a kid.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Well, some of the kids today aren't crazy about it because I had some kids that
no kids today are crazy
yeah,
about
because
work.
it is physical and it's hot. And all.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you're a kid who kind of athletic and
Yeah.
want to be outside and stuff, it's pretty good.
I mean, outdoors doing pools. First of all, you're moving. You're shoveling stone. You're outside.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
bouncing.
Yep.
If you're a kid in college or high school after work or during the summer, you get jacked,
Yeah.
and you don't even have to. You're not even working, going to the gym.
But there aren't many of those kids doing that.
What,
Kids
working
in
out?
no, working in these jobs like in college.
Working in college.
Oh yeah.
Then I don't know what they do in the high school and college.
I
kids.
don't either.
I asked that. I don't know if they're working like retail or.
No,
I don't know
no
what
one's
they're
working.
doing.
They just
or
don't work.
Uber, drive. I don't know what they're doing. Or they're not.
They're
working.
not encouraged to work.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I know.
It is weird, and I think that's a cultural shift that we've taken in the past couple decades, where every kid had an after school job when I was growing up.
My kids always worked.
But
They did.
now the kids are not encouraged to work, and then they're told. Then the parents will go to their teachers and say, "Oh, they have too much homework." You don't have too much homework.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
This-
think I read one book in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're
I
saying.
started reading after high school.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
nothing. I don't remember studying for anything.
Yep.
I
I know,
don't know
that's the
how I graduated.
Well, this is
but-
what happens in college too, like we talked about
Yeah.
before. It's the same thing. It carries over a lot to college. too.
Yeah.
And they end up spending 6-7 years to get out of college.
I know.
With the debt, and it just
The debt is insane.
Yeah.
Why start your life like that?
stuff. It's
And
you're
here's-
starting behind the eight ball.
And those industries are full. But our industries,
Yeah, I know.
we're thirsty for guys.
I know.
And the problem is, this is
Wouldn't say thirsty for guys, but
right.
that's another podcast.
Why you got to go there?
wouldn't say that.
That's
But
We're thirsty for good workers. Better.
no, don't say
Workers, period.
thirsty.
All right, we're hungry for
There
good
you go.
workers.
There you go.
It's the same
Thirsty.
concept.
It's not. It's not.
All right,
People are gonna
moving on. Jeez, why you got to turn it into that? It's like riding in the truck. Same thing.
Same
Oh
conversation.
yeah. I can't say anything. Actually, it's the complete opposite. He can't say anything without me turning into some pun. But I don't even know what I was saying. Thirsting for men.
The trades need people.
Need it bad. I mean, we say this stat all the time. For every 7 plumbers that die or retire, only one comes up to replace them.
So we say the same thing because there's a few landscapers around like my age. Some are more into maintenance or whatever, but we don't know who's behind them. It's hard to see. Like I don't know. Like 20 years from now, it's going to be
a
very
very
different.
different
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And it may be mostly Latin American, which is fine because they have a work ethic. But
But
debatable.
they're usually
I don't.
They're
What's
us-
that?
It's debatable.
they're usually but they
the ones
are
I know. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
they're usually the
busting.
workers. They are. They're usually the workers and not the designers or
Yeah,
the,
you
like,
need-
Right.
the architects.
So
or
what's going to
whatever.
happen? And to be honest, I'm just talking about even who's going to own these companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I don't know, because a lot of people just don't want to be bothered with
Right.
this stuff. There are, some young Spanish guys coming up and all, but it's mostly more of a maintenance thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or maybe masonry work, things like that. But to be able to be that jack of all trades, like a lot of the old guys are, like us,
Right.
be able to do a little bit of everything with the
It's dying.
masonry. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's very
It's
few
dying.
guys, and a lot of guys like me. I'm a perfect example. It's not like their kids want to take over it either.
Right. Right. I mean, I was the only one that wanted to come up to take over plumbing, and there's tons of courses.
Yeah,
You know?
but you wanted.
Working in plumbing
No, I
too.
didn't.
But at some
I fell
point you
into it. I ended up falling into the pool situation, and then that kind of made me fall into the plumbing.
did. Okay.
I never wanted to do this growing up. My grandfather, every time one of the boys, one of the grand boys would turn like 10 or 11, that's when we would start going out with grandpa.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable. First of all, my grandfather always took you out to lunch,
Right.
so which was great.
Yeah.
And he's not working you hard, but it's you're still working hard.
Yeah.
But he's not like, you're not like laboring, bringing 10-foot cast
You're not
upstairs.
just labor. You got to know. There's quite a
Yeah.
skill, and you got to know a lot of things.
But even back then, I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this, be a plumber. And, we're talking 25 years ago,
Yeah.
it was looked down on to be a plumber.
Yeah, probably any of these trades probably still
Yeah.
can, or to a certain degree, probably.
It's changing. The tide is changing.
Well, it is because I think people are hearing like the desperate cries from the trades, which needs to,
And
which
how
is
much-
needed to
And
make society go
how
around.
much how well you can do financially.
If you're smart,
Yeah.
If
you're smart, you can live like you. I've been to your house.
Yeah.
My wife works, and she's in a she's in a
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
good
so you're a
industry.
trophy husband.
She's in that's it.
She says,
That's
"Go be a
it.
landscaper so you can
Yeah.
stay nice and in shape for me."
No, but we both worked all through raising
Yeah.
kids and everything, and she's in tech industry and also.
yeah.
Oh, that's where
It's
that's also where the money
believe
is.
me, I think it is. I think sometimes what we talked about before, to make a big money in a trade like you do have to probably grow pretty large.
No, I don't.
I
disagree.
In landscaping,
In landscaping?
Yeah, in landscaping, I think you do. Maybe not plumbing and all, but I think in landscape to really go over the edge, to really.
You know what?
to make
I
big
actually
money.
let's do this. I want to take a break. But I want to pick this up because I have something to say to that.
Okay.
But it might go long. We're going to take a break.
Sure.
We'll come back. We'll touch base on this, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We will be right back with Kevin Murrell from Scapes Inc. in River Edge, New Jersey, and stick with us. We'll be right back.
Call Quartz Plumbing and Heating for top-rated service in Bergen County, New Jersey. And don't forget to keep treats for Frankie on hand.
Welcome back to Plum Bums Podcast, folks. Thanks for watching as always. We appreciate you being here. Oh, in addition to being sponsored by Quartz Plumbing and Heating, we want to let you guys know that Plum Bums is now being brought to you by Promo Bros. PromoBros.net. Promo Bros is a promotional merchandise company. They are high quality, high octane. Two buddies who started a promotional merchandising company. It's Christian based, but they make clothing, stickers, printing, hats, koozies, mouse pads, anything you can think of for events, for weddings, even just general merchandise for your business, for t-shirts and stuff like that. They put out phenomenal products. No peeling on their prints. Mugs are really good quality. PromoBros.net. No order is too big or too small, so check them out. Promo Bros, thanks again for jumping in on the Plum Bums podcast. We appreciate it, and we look forward to a long relationship with you guys. But guys, welcome back again. We're here with Kevin Murrell of Mountainscapes Inc. in River Edge, New Jersey, landscaper to the stars and the elite of the world.
Of the world, the universe.
Klaus Schwab's personal landscaper. I mean, how much does it cost to fly you out over there for Klaus Schwab?
It doesn't matter. Money's no object.
What we were talking about before the show, when you were saying, we were talking about when you break into the business to make money, at the beginning, hustling is definitely required.
Yeah, well, as you know, work
Busting
ethic
and busting.
is
Work ethic
no matter
is
what,
absolutely
no matter what
required.
the business is, to be honest with you.
But here's the thing that I've noticed, that most guys in the trades, they don't actually know what they should be charging.
Yeah, well, that is, I mean, that, well, especially since the last couple of years, because everything keeps changing.
But as far as material goes
Yeah.
and like manufacturing,
labor,
it's
everything
through the
too.
roof.
But even labor now, especially if it's good labor and you want to keep guys, it's always a game. You know, if you want to keep your good guys, you have to keep paying them.
Yeah.
You know, so but yeah, it is, pricing is tricky because also, and I'm sure your job's like that, you don't always know what's going to happen.
You don't.
Weather, conditions, you don't know what's in the ground sometimes, you know.
I put a lot of provisions in our estimates. I mean, we'll say, listen, this may go wrong. I'm going to price you out on this, but just so you know, we may have issues here.
Yeah.
But we do flat rate charging.
So you're covered, sort of.
We're covered. The customer's covered. It works. It really works out for both parties.
Right.
But the thing is, I still know plumbers that are charging $120 an hour.
Yeah.
You cannot survive.
No, I know. Whatever people think, they just think the price of whatever you're doing that day and the material. They don't realize the insurance,
Right.
the gas, upkeep on vehicles, taxes. You go on and on.
It's not a joke. I mean, you hear horror stories all the time. I got this plumber in here. We got one with the cheapest contract. It wasn't he, or he was the second to cheapest. Yada yada yada. It's like there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
there's a reason why you call this guy. Most people usually call 3 people. All right, and I tell customers all the time, we're not the cheapest. Quartz Plumbing is not the cheapest plumber. We're also not the most expensive.
Right.
We're trying to hover somewhere in the middle. But when we do pricing, I make sure that everything is covered. When you have to change a boiler, I don't say at the end, oh, by the way, we're going to have to upgrade your venting, so here's more.
Yeah.
I give you soup to nuts. This is it. You won't have to worry about it. It's done. We charge a flat rate. If I end up having to go over, you're not on the hook for that.
Yeah.
And we put a really good warranty on everything. So that's how we've been trying to combat the pricing, is by saying, listen, here's 5 or 6 options for your job. Okay.
Oh, you give them options?
I give options. Yeah. Here's 5 or 6 options for your job. Whatever you want, the higher option you go, the longer warranty that I cover the parts and labor. I mean, we put a 6-year warranty on some of our top options on material.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Right. And you got to figure if you're doing the right
idea.
thing, right? And you're doing the right thing in the material, obviously, is
you
no
gotta
defects and all.
There's a lot of defects, though. That's the thing.
That's the problem.
And that's where
But the suppliers make it up, but you still have to go back and do it.
you still got to go back and do it.
Still
and you can kind of work some things. So once you're past the 2-3 year mark, you're on your own. If that part fails, so
I know what you mean.
we've had to make a lot of increase to how we charge for material. But to combat that, because that scares people, I say, listen, to combat that, I'm going to be your plumber on everything we touch for the next 6 years. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about your water heater. If it starts leaking, call me. It's taken care of. 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to figure out and navigate today, because material just constantly goes up.
Right.
Up.
And there are a lot of people who are okay with that, but there are also a lot of people who are just who's looking for the best deal.
Yeah,
as you
and
know.
to be honest, I can't help those people.
No, I know. It's hard to, if you're going to, and we talk about all the overhead, though, you also need some money to live.
Yeah. And you need to live around here.
Yeah, I know. Right.
That's the thing. Like, do you want plumbers around here? You got to pay them to live around here. Yeah, I'm not commuting from freaking Stroudsburg. It's not happening.
People do that.
Yeah.
I know. I know. Just have a cheaper house and all. I know.
Yep.
And you know what? It's not even that much cheaper anymore.
No.
The pricing out there is just going through the roof.
And then when gas goes up, once you're traveling and everything, it's
sitting in traffic.
Oh, believe me, that's
My
to
father
me,
used to commute from
defeats the whole
Long
purpose.
Island to Elizabeth, New Jersey, every day,
Jeez.
2 ways for
Oh,
10
I know. I hear
years.
nightmares what people do. It like gives me.
I won't do it.
I can't believe what some people do, like just for commuting.
What do you want to live in the car?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You know, some people do that 6 days a week or
I
something.
won't do it.
Right.
And I've had conversations with customers like, listen, I need to live around here too.
Yeah.
You want a plumber? You want a plumber to come here in the middle of the night? Would you rather me drive from River Edge or Scranton?
And also from a personal point of view, do you want to get home 8 o'clock every night and just eat and go
Yeah.
to bed and get up and do the same thing?
I may go on a tangent now, but I'm not your slave. You don't own me for the 8 hours that I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm providing you a service.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the best service I can, but it's a numbers game. These people don't understand. I come here 3-4 nights a week and just sit in the front of the computer to do numbers, to make sure our charging is on point, that we're able to pay. You got to think about, do you want me to pay my guys well, or do you want me to pay them cheaply?
And have workers that aren't quality. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and people don't think about that. They just look at the bottom line.
Of course.
You can look at the bottom line, but it will bite you in the ass.
So the few times that I bid against other people, if they're the reputable guys and companies, everyone's pretty close to the same.
Yeah.
Fairly close. Anyway.
Yeah.
When you get a guy who's either way up or way down, then that's usually an issue. But most of the guys who've been around a while, they're all pretty.
Right.
The material all costs the same. You know, everything's pretty much the same. So.
There's a big jump. Well, I mean, plants can cost a lot of money.
Well, I run into the issue if you don't compare apples to apples. You know, if I'm designing a job and there's 300 plants and another guy comes in and he's giving you 150 plants, obviously I'm going to be more money.
Yeah.
But when you compare apples to apples, most of the guys are pretty close to the same.
You gotta stay on top of your numbers. That's the biggest thing. And a lot of guys will get into these industries and really not know their numbers. They're great workers.
Yeah.
They're great techs.
Yeah.
But they don't know their numbers, so they go for their license, and they're struggling all the time. I can only speak for plumbers, but we have to sit in 4 years of school.
Yeah, I know.
Go through a licensing program, keep up that licensing every 2 years. You have to pay.
It's a lot,
you have to pay all these fees. You think I'm going to come to your house for $120 an hour?
Oh, I know.
Are you kidding me?
People don't. We talked about that before. They don't put always value in the trades. But how do you think your plumbing works and your electrical?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you got to know what you're doing. Obviously.
I mean, with plumbing, our insurance is going up and up and up too. It won't stop. Insurance won't stop.
I just had a whole thing. I just changed insurance companies.
Insurance companies. It's
But there's
usury.
ways of. Part of it is too. You got to keep on top of that, which I didn't.
Yeah.
And I thought my broker did. But
yeah.
And I got a new broker, and it's a huge difference. So
you make a little mistake insurance, you're screwed.
I know, and
what
kills me is I've never had I had a claim 15 years ago when some things were stolen. I've never had a claim even, and yet the rates, everything just keeps going.
Yeah.
I know.
You know?
It's robbery.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you got to pass that cost on to the customers. The cost of doing business.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe-
the argument is with some of these young guys or fly by nights, they don't have insurance.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people
Oh, yeah, there's
say
a
out
ton
there.
of guys-
I don't know that for sure, but you hear that.
It's true.
Well, there's a ton of guys that come in, do work under a certain name,
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah,
I heard in the electrical business that happens a lot.
under a certain name,
Yeah.
and then also they'll do a job, and do something where they get maybe somebody tries to sue them, but they're already under a different name. They bankrupt their company and go under a different name.
They'll just move on.
Those are people
And people will get the fly by night guy because he's cheaper, and then they'll call us, and they'll be like, and I'll give them a price because I have to fix what the guy did and then do it right.
Yeah, I know.
They're like, whoa,
So it costs twice as much.
Yeah.
In some ways, yeah.
And then and it's like, whoa, like, this is ridiculous.
Well,
The
call
pricing
call
is
the other guy
it's
back.
so exactly. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I know.
You did you not learn your lesson the first time?
Do you find that they eventually go with you though?
Well, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, with me?
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't get every estimate.
No, I know nobody does.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I think it depends where you're working to.
I'm able to at least reason with them.
Yeah.
Here, slide the mic over to your
or just
left.
logic. Some of it's just logic.
Slide the mic over to your left. There you go.
Some of it's just logic.
Yeah.
Even you know what I mean? If
A lot
they
of
really
people don't have that.
I know. I see a lot. Some of the stories. That
I mean,
over the
listen, we
years-
have. I have 1,300 customers on the roster. We have a good customer base. I got customers that knew my grandfather.
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that.
Yes.
But you gotta. We had one plumber on here. He goes, "I vet I'll fire my customers. I don't care."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well, hey, if it works
I mean,
for
I
you,
guess I've done that sort of over the years, but not many. Not many. Again, when you're dealing with word of mouth, which it's a different story. It's a
Yeah.
good thing, usually.
Yeah.
Usually, not always. But
no,
usually.
it is.
Yeah.
Mostly, what I find is when you get a job, a referral from word of mouth, they're not shopping. They're not going to shop.
No,
They're gonna-
usually,
yeah.
right. But occasionally, I'll get like that friend of my customers is really like maybe not a nice guy, or
Yeah,
one of the people we talked about just looking for a bargain or something.
right.
But that doesn't happen that often.
Will you pass the bad customers off onto like your buddy landscapers to mess with them?
No, I just don't bother. But that hasn't happened in a while. I occasionally you wait. You spend a lot of time on an estimate or something, you don't get it.
Right,
But again, if you go on word of mouth, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
As often.
right. You got any? So what are some horror stories? What are some landscaping horror stories
With customers.
with anything? When was the last time a
One
big
of the first
excavator
things
fell
that
in a pit?
one thing I always remember, it's not a horror story, but to show you like how crazy some people are,
Yeah,
is this was back in the 80s. It was like a $4,500 job, which back there it wasn't big, but it wasn't tiny. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Especially since I just started. And the guy had some low spots in his lawn besides the planting we were going to do. And he said, "Can you fill in those low spots?" And I told him, "Yeah, no problem." When we're here doing the work.
right.
So he goes, "All right, I'll get back to you. Let me just think about this. Go over with my wife. I'll call you in a few days." He calls me back. Now, I was going to fill those spots in for free. It was just part of the job.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want to do the job, but he wanted me to fill the holes in.
What?
He wanted me to do the free part, and that was it.
He
serious.
felt justified saying that,
I told him I'll be over there tomorrow for morning first thing. He goes, "Oh, great!" And
never showed up.
yeah, of course.
Of
but
course
you
not.
understand, the
People,
thing I
that's-
was going to throw in, he wanted to do, but not
Yeah.
the job.
Yeah.
I mean, I just couldn't.
I don't run into that too often either. But sometimes
This
I have
was when
people.
I first started, and I'll always remember that. Like this guy had to be just something wrong with him.
Listen, the
Some
90s,
people just want somebody to talk to.
Me-
I've noticed. No, I've
Maybe.
noticed that with certain people, with certain customers, that that they're not going to go with the job,
yeah,
and they just like they'll invite people into their houses, different contractors,
Yeah.
landscapers,
Yeah.
somebody into their house,
that's crazy to
Yeah.
just
me.
to talk, and pretend like they want an estimate for something. And I'm like,
yeah.
That's-
No, I know what you're saying. They're just you wonder what you're there for, right?
Yeah.
I know what you're
That's-
saying.
that's crazy
This
to me.
guy was, I just think, out of his mind and really cheap or something, and I don't know how he thought that I'm going to throw out the project, but come for the favor.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
And do you have
I
no
thought he was
shame?
goofing on me at first.
I mean, there are people out there that really feel that entitled, and
Yeah.
it sucks.
This
but
was years ago, but still. it was
listen,
insane.
there are a lot of times where we'll go to a customer. They look at you lower. They look at you like they own you.
Yeah.
They look at you
Occasionally.
that you are a second class citizen,
Yep.
and
That's happened over the years. Yeah.
it's
But-
brutal.
but
It sucks
yeah.
that there's people like
But you
that.
don't get it that often, right?
I don't get it that often, but when you
Yeah.
get it, it sticks out.
And when I think about it, when it did, that was years ago. I haven't had that, maybe again, because it's all word of mouth thing. But I know it is. And it does, you don't forget
You don't forget
some of
it.
those things.
No,
Yeah. I
that's
had
the
a few
story you
people
always tell.
that jerk you around with money.
Right.
I don't even mind if you have a discrepancy or it's a matter of perception or opinion. But when you get a guy who just is setting you up,
Yeah,
that's really
you got to learn how to sniff
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah, and that only happened maybe once, twice, maybe once. But
I think, years ago you really didn't have to watch your back like that, but now we've started to institute policies where, listen, we're going to hold a credit card on file.
yeah, I know a lot of people
we
do that.
I don't charge
does
for
everyone,
estimates.
But does everyone give you a credit card?
Well, I don't hold it from people that I know.
Yeah,
Like not
Okay, so
customers.
people-
You can
I
slide
know
this
a lot
out.
of
Are you
guys-
bumping in there?
Yeah,
you
I
can
just did.
there.
I know a lot of guys who do that, especially in the service end.
Yeah.
When it's service,
I got to do it sometimes because, first of all, this area is growing very rapidly. A lot of new people are
Younger-
calling
and
you
younger.
and younger,
Yeah.
and they just don't really respect you enough to,
Yeah.
pay you your money what you're owed. And sorry, you got to take a credit card.
And think about some of these young people; they have no experience, so they're calling you up or me up, And they may think it's like, $300 to do what you want to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually 5,000,
Yeah.
So some of they just don't know what's going on. They don't have a clue.
Because they don't have lawns over there in the city.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. And they never spent money on things like that.
Right.
Or, how can a tree cost $3,000 or something like that?
Well, I have and I notice it more and more. They're shocked at the price.
Yeah.
I say, welcome to 2024.
Well, yeah, but the price of everything's high. You
Yeah.
go to the food store, everything is.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's clicked with a lot of people.
Yeah.
They keep hearing inflation. They're like, yeah, that inflation.
Yeah.
And then when they are presented with a service contract,
Yeah.
it clicks. It doesn't. It still doesn't click for them. They're like, oh, this is ridiculous. It's like, have you been paying attention? Where do you think this? It trickles into everything.
Yeah, I know.
Everything.
Yeah.
Your gas price, your insurance price, your business taxes. It's just it. All this stuff is seeping into everything, and I think that most people, they know it's happening. They keep hearing it, but it hasn't clicked.
Yeah. And some people just want what they want. I've had people, where I go, they want the number they want. Or I had, some jobs where I give them advice like, you can't do that in that kind of lighting. You can only use certain things in that lighting. Like they wouldn't listen to me. They probably so what they did is they kept talking to people till they got someone to agree with them. I ride by the job a year later, because I'm past it through, and sure enough, somebody did what they weren't supposed to do. So, it's a little bit of everything.
You
You're dealing
can't
with all
win those
different people.
customers.
Yeah,
Listen, there's plenty of people that live around here. There's no need to fight over or cry over spilled milk.
Right.
It's just pointless.
Yeah.
There's people that out there that will be a good customer. They'll respect you, and in turn, you get to be a good service contractor for them.
Yeah.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
You can call Gold Medal or these big time huge chains. You'll never get the same guy. You don't know how well he's trained.
Yeah.
He can come in here, screw this up.
Yeah.
You'll never get the owner of the company.
That's right.
But let's say if I put in a boiler for somebody, that's the start of a relationship.
It's more personalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to get me on the phone. You're going to be able to talk to a real person.
Yeah.
You're never going to have to press 1
Yeah.
or 2 to find to get to the right menu, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know.
So people don't pick that up either. They don't think about that.
Yeah, I know. It's it's funny again because I'm at a different time and it's word of mouth. You do develop relationships with your good customers.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And it's just a comfortable, give and take.
100%.
thing.
Yeah.
But it's not always like that with everybody. But I have less and less of those customers. Maybe because
because you're on your way out.
And I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. And but I never had a whole lot of them anyway. I think most people, if you're fair with them and good with them, they'll be most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you get some people just bad no matter what, but for the most part, that's what I find.
And like I said, this area is changing, and it's changing rapidly. So I don't know how it's going to go the next 20 years, especially with the lack of guys coming up.
Well, I was just going to ask you: is there young guys, coming up?
They're like
In that
early 30s.
Yeah.
The ones that I'm kind of seeing, but I mean, there are numbers out there that
Do they have their own business, or they're working for people?
No, they're working.
They're
for
working
people.
for people.
Most of the guys are working for. I think most of the
So
guys.
that's what I mean. Who do you think that it's going to be a problem with the owners in the future?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think it might. We
Without
say the same thing.
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
at
So
this
what are
point.
these guys? I mean, you're a perfect example. Would you want to? Are you going to go on your own someday?
I mean, I would like to, but I honestly have also thought about it. I like the court's name.
Yeah.
And it's got a good long history, so sometimes it's nice.
You're a lot younger than him, though, so you never know.
Yeah.
He's not a lot younger than me. It's not a lot.
A good 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't you tell?
People mistake us for brothers.
Yeah.
They
I can
do.
see.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
I don't see it.
Well, you're a little taller too.
I don't. I was like, what do you
have
think happened?
beards.
What do you think
I
happened?
think it's the beard.
Yeah.
Could be
Both
the
have
beard.
beards.
Yeah.
Or the way we bicker on the job.
They might think you're a
100%.
couple.
I guarantee you've heard that, us bickering on one of your jobs that you were done. But we were talking about it before. First of all, it's only been us two for the last 7
I know,
years.
so it's kinda like-
there is no third. There's no third wheel to break
like
up
the-
the
it's like-
monotony. I can't send him. Oh, go work with this guy.
Yeah, yeah. That's right.
We never get along with the new guy.
We're like the dogs. So the dogs never get along with any other dogs. They're always like snooty, and they like. It's basically me and him when a new guy
probably
tries
run
to
into a lot
come.
of other dogs too on jobs.
Oh yeah.
Most of them are small dogs, right?
These
run
are,
into.
yeah, pretty much. And customers respond well to them. This is great branding.
It's not like you're bringing these dogs to a job with a German Shepherd that's going to eat them or something.
No. We're very discerning when it comes to that. But we'll let people know. First of all, they're always looking out the window. So when customers will answer the door, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you got a dog in there." I'm like, "Yeah, you want to meet her?"
Yeah.
The kids love the dogs. They're a big hit with the kids.
Yep.
So if you're looking for easy way to brand, a dog is an easy way.
I had a golden retriever that I used to take. I was single and I couldn't leave the dog home alone.
Yeah.
And he came with me all the time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing better than working with a dog.
Yeah, and he was an outdoor dog, so he was just running around in the woods.
That's
all the time.
awesome.
Yeah.
So he was living his best life.
He was. He fell out of the truck once when I was driving.
Did he?
Yeah, out the window. My big truck too.
Oh my gosh.
And he's young.
He did
okay,
that
though.
too.
Yeah.
First
stopped
like
short.
week, yeah. He jumped out.
What?
No,
Or
he
he
just
fell
like
out.
kind of went flying out the window. And stopped. And he
Did
was
you hit a
only
bump?
like 5 months old or something. 6
Oh, my
months old.
gosh.
And
Well,
it was a
he'll-
little far, but he was okay.
He'll bounce back
At least I
at
think.
that age.
Well, I don't know. He
They're
had
made of
issues,
rubber at that
actually, now that I
age.
think of it, maybe he did land on his head.
When did he fall out?
What, like
You didn't know that, huh?
no, like a few weeks into getting him, I was getting used to my house, and when I was driving home in my truck, he like got all excited because I guess he saw the house.
And the window was open?
The window was open. He howled and just leaped out the back window, and I'm like,
Were you moving?
I was moving.
Yeah, I was moving too.
But I'm in a residential area, so there's no cars or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
driving by, so I was lucky. But he fell out of my pickup truck. I had a 2015 GMC Sierra that he jumped
I was
out
in a
of.
big international. I mean, this was a far
Yeah.
fall. It's like- I
What
thought
did you
was
do when he
10.
did that?
I just heard a thud. I got angry at him, like what you did when
course,
when she fell too. I got angry at him, and then I felt bad. I was like,
I did exactly when you were in the job after she fell. So we have a little container in the truck that the dogs sit in. They sit there and they perch out so they look out the
Yeah,
windshield
yeah,
as
yeah.
we drive. So how did she fall out?
I
She
had-
was sitting
I
up
had
on
beef
the
jerky.
thing. Yeah, he was eating beef jerky by the side. So she's
paying
sitting
attention.
there on the edge of the thing, like literally trying to like look at the beef jerky, and she goes too far. And she flops out like a piece of molding clay.
she broke the shelf.
Just no bounce or anything on the floor, just like thud. And I got angry. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I
He
mean?
got
Yeah. I got upset because
Yeah.
the way she landed.
yeah.
And then he goes inside, and then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you. Like hugging her while he's not around. But I
They
don't know where we were
seem
going with
content.
this. They are very content. They're super spoiled.
So they're out all day, right? Every day?
Yeah.
Every
Yeah. Unless it's too cold or too hot.
Right.
But that's what I was saying. Dogs, great branding. You know, nowadays, and probably not so much when you came up in the 80s, but nowadays, especially with so much competition and it's so easy to make content, branding is important.
Yeah, I know.
think.
It's people, whatever. That's what Facebook and everything is about. Right?
Even
selling yourself. Yeah,
even with like just service companies, just branding is
Yeah, I know.
super important.
Yeah.
It makes an impact.
that never entered my mind, but I understand. I know.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
It's
Things like
a
that.
totally different
Yeah.
game nowadays. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's nothing like it was before. Not that I know. I'm only 43 years old.
Yeah.
But hearing my uncle talk and stuff like that, every aspect about the service industry is totally different.
Yeah, I know.
There's so many different factors now.
And that's all part of the whole with the young. It's the way the young people. Everything is that way, almost.
Would you encourage kids to get into landscaping?
It's the kind of thing I always looked at it as. It's what I liked. The funny thing is, when I was in high school, I had a girlfriend, and I was born in May. I'm a Taurus. She gave me this thing on my horoscope on my birthday. And it said Tauruses end up being landscape designers and architects.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of it. But, 20 years later, all of a sudden it kind of...
Well, did you become a landscaper?
Not
'Cause
that I'm into horoscopes at all, but I'm just saying it was
I
kind
was
of...
going to say, I was going to make a joke.
I liked it. I liked, like we talked about before. If a kid is not into being outside and doing...
Yeah.
gaming.
Have a little creativity,
Right.
maybe, and
Endurance and
the whole
stamina.
yeah, I
You
guess
gotta have
to
a
a
little
certain
bit of that.
degree, yeah. Then no, but and that's the problem. A lot of kids are not into
Right.
just being outside. Even probably.
Kids don't
Yeah.
grow up outside anymore.
yeah,
They
I-
don't play in
we
dirt.
were sun up to
I know.
sundown. We came home to eat. And that was it.
Yep, that was it. And
And it was even more so when I'm a bit older than you. It was unbelievable.
yeah.
You didn't do, and it was year round. In the snow, you were sleigh riding all day.
Once cell phones, because even like with video games, this is my theory. Even with video games, kids would still ride their bikes to their buddy's house to go play video games, and then while they're there, they're playing or whatever. I think once cell phones.
Yeah, that has
cell phones came out, and then maybe 4 or 5 years later, that started to fall off.
The video games contribute because, and I noticed from my kids, when you play video games, you're still hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't need to always meet them in a park or go out because you're basically with them anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm not faulting it. But it's things like that make a difference.
Yeah.
I hear them talking to their friends while they're playing. They're in touch with them right there.
I guess.
Yeah, it's different, I know, but I think that is a substitute in some ways.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to pan out for long term, but
that's why the field should be open.
Yeah.
For these young guys who wanted to, but it's hard to get people.
Well,
I think some guys will go into the service before they get into a trade.
I know.
Maybe.
That's the crazy part is that you're going to do that before you get into a trade, and I also think like you guys had guidance counselors, right? That was the thing when you were
That's
younger.
a whole other story. I did.
yeah.
I mean,
I was a pedophile, but other than that,
Confirmed.
I'm not laughing at pedophilia. I'm just laughing because that's.
well, I shouldn't. I don't know if it was a pedophile. He liked his young male students.
So he was
That's a
creepster.
And I was one of them.
So he was a creepster.
That's a
It was
pedophile.
actually kind of funny. I mean, I'm not talking about 5-year-olds. We were 16.
Okay.
though.
Well, okay.
But anyway,
I mean, if you want to look at it that a little better, what were you saying?
exactly.
Let's just move on.
But
here.
anyway, what are you going to say about
No,
guidance
but
guidance counselors.
those guidance counselors, they're most of the time they're recommending kids, and not that kids listen to their guidance counselors, but a lot of times they're there for you to kind of push a certain idea, and they're usually recommending college. I
That's
don't
all they
ever,
do. I think a lot of those guidance counselors are not very helpful.
No, it was a joke.
Even with college, some of them aren't.
None of this was suggested to me. None of it.
Yeah.
None of.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I don't
go
even
to
know
college
what
for
they.
this or.
I can't think of what. It's almost like you have to come to them. I want to go to maybe this college. Otherwise, I can't ever remember any suggestions from them. To be honest with you,
it's a tough spot. I think a lot of things about society. They say you should. This is what you do. This is what you just do at that age.
Yeah.
And no one thinks about it. And then $150,000 later.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything. Well, my kids went to college. I went to college, but I think you have to question: what's it doing for you?
Yeah.
I think you can sell it like this because it used to be everybody's like summer job landscaping. Like teenagers used that was their their
huge.
summer
That's
job.
what most of
How much
labor
nowadays can they make in a summer? Do you think like a worker can make in a summer just landscaping?
he could be making $600, $700 a week if he's working a full week.
All right. I mean, that's good money for.
That is good
Yeah.
money.
That's very good money for
Definitely
a summer
600.
job.
It all depends how many hours. My kids, they couldn't always work a full week, or they had to do something else.
It fluctuates for sure, but
if you want to work a full week, or a Saturday even as a kid,
it's a good side hustle
Yeah.
if you're in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent because you get into controversial topics on why this is happening and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole.
But I will.
And then you
I
sound like an old man too.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly.
You think I couldn't sound older?
That's right.
I sound a lot older.
But a lot of this stuff is facts too, though. It's
Yeah.
not like it's an opinion. Even.
Well, some facts are controversial, and you can't say those facts.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you gotta.
Listen, honestly, we're kind of getting to the end of it, but you have anything you want to say to your captive audience right now?
First of all, I want to thank you for having me on. It was
problem.
No
it was a lot of fun. But again, if you have an interest, it's like anything else. You go to school, you're not really interested, and that's why it drags on. You don't really get much out of it. So it's the same with the trades. If you're not really going to do it, or you think you're just going to do it because you can't do anything else, I think you have to. You have to have an interest. I think, and it helps a lot easier learning whatever that trade is too, if you like it. The problem is finding what you like and what you want to do it.
And I'll tell you, I can't think of a single blue collar guy who, if like a high school kid came up and say, "Hey, I'm interested in some part-time work that I want to learn the trade,"
Yeah.
I can't think of a single dude who would say no.
And I know guys who've tried it and have had guys, but it never seems to work out. Or
Yeah.
I also think this too, and this is coming from a younger guy's perspective, and why I also liked working with you, is because a lot of guys in these fields, they're older, don't have the patience. I know with like my uncle, who I've worked with, great contractor, zero patience.
Yeah, well,
Zero patience.
negative
Negative
patience.
patience.
you know, that's something I'm glad you brought that up. I know we got to go. You do have to know how to treat your
I think
your workers.
I think it's up to the older generation too. It's not, you can't just throw blame on younger people. You have to take the older generation, and I think what the big thing is, they have to have patience. You have to teach. It's not fun when you don't have somebody, or it's not enjoyable. I don't want to say fun, but it's not enjoyable when you don't have a good manager, a good
Right.
boss to work for,
Oh,
who's
of course,
not
yeah.
like teaching you things, who's
Yeah.
just yelling at you all the time.
Grumpy and all, yeah.
You know, there are guys that don't know anything about this stuff, but you want them to get
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it, you know? And if you want them to get into it, give them a good environment.
Well, that is the problem with some of the old timers. And I know old timers, I know guys my age who can barely hold on to labor. I mean, how do you at 65 years old and you can't keep your labor?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah, and it's partially is because how they're treated.
You have to look within.
Yeah, no, you do right, and he's getting better with it.
Yeah.
But it might be a little too late too.
Yeah.
She's so
It is
old.
what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Kevin, thanks for coming on. I
Thank you.
appreciate
It
it.
was my pleasure.
All right. You're our first landscaper. Probably
First,
our only.
Maybe you last.
Well, I don't know any other ones, so. No. Listen, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, this is what we do this for. Try to encourage people who are coming up,
That's
young
great.
kids.
Yeah.
But, folks, thanks for watching Plum Bums. We really appreciate it. Just want to remind you guys, if anyone's interested in being on the show, go to quartzplumbing.com, click the podcast link on the top right, and just fill out the application. We're always looking for people who are in interesting trades, interesting industries, small business owners, entrepreneurs, obviously. So if you're interested, go fill out that application. We want to give another shout out to Promo Bros, promotional merchandise, promobros.net, hats, clothing, all your promotional needs for your business, whatever you need, they got you. And listen, stick with us. We have a ton of great guests coming up this season. So stick with us and we'll see you here next time.